Welcome back, viewers. Welcome back to my channel, and this is episode 19. Today, I thought I would discuss another aspect of living at Dapchari, and we'll talk about Desai Bai, the grocery shop lady. So, in that entire village, like I told you, it was set up in units. It was not like a naturally evolved village. It was created, and these plots of land with those unit houses were allotted to different people, different farmers on a subsidy or whatever the loan, which was basically they were not expected to pay back. Now there was one beautiful temple over there that I'm not sure if I mentioned. I used to enjoy visiting it, and there was this silk cotton tree over there. I remember being so fascinated by all the beautiful carvings of the gods. I would keep looking at them. Like you would walk up the steps, and there would be an open courtyard, and then you would see a Nandi Bail that's usually there at the entrance of the temple, and it was so beautifully carved. I would be fascinated, and then as you walked in further along the walls, you would see different deities carvings, and this was not like the modern temples. I don't know if it was from some olden days. uh, they were very beautiful carvings, and I used to just be fascinated and look at them for long. So, in that entire community, there was one grocery shop. That lady also had one of those farm units, and her name was Desai Bai. Now, as a kid, I never thought, where is the rest of her family? So, basically, there was Desai Bai, and she had four children. There was a oldest girl called Madhu, and then there was another girl called Jayashri, and then there was a boy called Raju, and then she had one more girl called Nalini, who was a differently abled girl. I'm not sure exactly what was the challenge, but one of the things was that she couldn't talk. So that was one of the things, but I feel like she had more than one disability. I'm not very sure. So we used to go there to buy groceries. Obviously, that was the only grocery shop over there, and it was a bit far from our house. So sometimes mom would cycle there to get stuff. Sometimes she would ask Ruby to cycle and get stuff. I remember very clearly once when Ruby said that it was almost time to cook and they had to get rice. And then my mom sent her, she said, just go get 1 kg rice. And the reason we had to just get less groceries from time to time was because of Nair and the business. If you remember, I think I have mentioned that dad started a business with a guy called Nair. Now, as a kid, I only knew that dad was working with a guy called Nair. They both were in a business together. That's all I knew. I don't know anything further about that. And of course, there was the dairy and poultry that they were doing, but yeah, I remember one guy would come and he had this measuring instrument. He would put little bits of milk in it, and then he would start rolling a handle, and then the milk would roll really fast in those little containers. And then after some time it would come to a standstill, and you could see how much fat was in each of the milk little containers, and then he would decide the rate which he would pay you for the milk based on that. So every evening, like morning and evening, there used to be milk collections. So mom, dad, dada, they would be like milking the cows and gathering all the milk twice a day. I feel that's a very difficult way to manage your living and kind of precarious also. Anyway, so that was what they were doing. And apparently, what I hear is that Nair never, this is what mom said, that we never saw a penny of our investment after we invested it. And mom said that Nair was always thriving. Like they had lots of things in their house. They ate the best of foods, the most expensive foods. They were always cooking non-veg, like they were buying expensive stuff. So mom would ask dad, what about money for us? Nair seems to have a lot of money. What about us? And I don't know what dad would say, but apparently we never saw a penny of our investment from that business. So we were kind of always living with less money. So I remember we would even visit Desai Bai socially. My mom just likes to visit with everyone. She's a very social person. She kind of thinks everyone's her friend. I think even dad probably thinks that. And then they just stay in touch with people. They go after years, they keep on driving to places to visit people and see how they are. So that's what they do. So I remember we would even like walk. It was far, but some evenings as a family we would just walk up to Desai Bai's place and we would just hang out with them, and then go back home. I mean, what entertainment did you have over there in the evening? You socializing is what you did, I guess. So I remember one evening we went to their house and Raju was crying, and I had never seen Raju cry. These were older kids, like we were little. Definitely, I was below 10 at this point. That's how I remember it. And these people were either older teenagers, maybe one or two of them were even 20, the older girls, and Raju was probably a late teens, older teenager. And I had never ever seen him cry. So I was like, why is Raju crying? And apparently, we heard that Jayashree is dying. I was like, I could not process that. I don't even know if they said Jayashree is dying. We just went in and we saw that Jayashree was lying on a bed foaming at the mouth. So this did not make any sense to me. I was like, why is Jayashree this way? And then we suddenly realized, like, then mom said, oh my god, I don't think she's gonna make it. Like, Raju was just holding her hand and crying, and I could not understand what was going on. And then I think mom said that she's committed, so taken something, she's eaten something that's going to kill her. So kind of she had committed suicide, but she was still alive. She was still lying in the bed, foaming at the mouth, still alive. And I remember I started crying and I was like, why is Jayashree dying? So one thing I clearly remember is that of all the people I had seen till that point in my life, uh, Jayashree was one of the most beautiful people I had ever seen. She was extremely beautiful, and I was like, wow, this person is so beautiful. She had the classic signs of beauty, all those face proportions or whatever. What I can remember is that she was extremely beautiful, and she was probably the most beautiful person I had seen till that point in my life. And I was feeling very sad, and then slowly she passed away. And then later, years later, mom said that Jayashree Bai had been prostituting her daughters. So then it made sense. So I guess Jayashree couldn't take it anymore. I don't know what the poor girl went through. I don't even know whether she was 20 yet. And I'm sure she was traumatized by whatever experiences were happening. I don't know if she was pregnant. And when I come to think of it, there was no man living with them. Now I don't know whether I should judge Desai Bai. I don't know what that woman went through to reach that point in her life. Did she have a husband? Did she not have a husband? I don't remember. I was a kid and I was seeing everything from a kid's perspective. So yes, I was extremely sad about Jayashree, and then later, years later, when I heard about what actually happened, I was horrified, absolutely horrified that that is what happened, that the poor girl could not live out her life because her mom was prostituting her. Heaven knows what experiences she went through. Um, but then years later, I do remember that Madhu had gotten married. The oldest daughter had gotten married, and mom likes to stay in touch with everyone. So we're talking about before we had even landline phones. This was the time of before phones, before Google, before all of this. I mean, obviously, some people in some places had phones, but a middle class average person had an average waiting time of about 7 years after booking a phone. You were supposed to book a phone with the government and forget about it. Like, heaven knows when those lines would come to your area. So, we're talking about those times. So, still, mom would keep track of people. She would write letters, and if she knew where someone was, she would try to visit. So, I remember Madhu had gotten married and moved to Bombay, and then we did go and visit. She showed us her house. So, that was a happy memory of at least one of the kids had a good life, I assume, afterwards. And about Nalini, I don't know what happened to Nalini, but I have a very clear memory of once when we were given something to drink, probably hot milk, I'm not sure, but it was a hot drink. I don't know if it was tea or milk. And it was a steel glass, I guess, and Nalini held the glass and it was too hot for her hand. And I remember she made noises and indicated with gestures that please take the glass, it's too hot. She had nothing to kind of hold it with. She was holding it with her bare hands and her hands were burning. And I remember feeling very impressed that, I mean, I was not sure exactly what disabilities she had, whether it was a mental disability or just that she couldn't talk. But I remember being very impressed that in spite of what happened, like her hands were burning, Nalini didn't let go of the glass. She was such a good girl that she kind of brought it to the attention of others that please take this glass from me, but she didn't drop it and spill the stuff. So I remember being touched by how nice Nalini was. So these are my memories of Desai Bai's family, and I thought I would share with you because this was part of my growing up story. I randomly one day we socially visited someone and we witnessed a person dying. We witnessed a suicide in action, like not exactly like in action, but yes, I was there watching a girl slip away and die. So that happened, lived through all, my God, what all we've seen. As a little child, I don't even know what to say, what to do. So, but I did want to share this as one of the experiences I had as a little child. So that was today's episode on Desai Bai's story, and I hope you enjoyed listening to my episode. Please do subscribe and please click the like button if you like this episode. And I will see you soon in the next episode. Bye, viewers.